White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. To the winner goes this series, the White Sox and the Blue Jays. Game number 3 after splitting the first 2 on a Wednesday afternoon in Chicago. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. Some high offense in both games, and Josh Donaldson has come out of the chute in both with a home run.
Donaldson has really been struggling this year. It's a combination of bad legs. He didn't have a stroke, but he seemingly has gotten it here in Chicago. Against James Shields, he lifts it out of the ballpark. Angle comes up a little lame, but he was okay. And then this, just a bomb. That was yesterday over the center field wall. So Donaldson, who's hitting in the 240s, only had 12 home runs. You look for higher numbers from him, but maybe it's later rather than sooner as far as his stroke is concerned.
As for the Sox offensively, Jose Abreu has been remarkably consistent for his 3 years here leading up to this season, and he's continuing this year.
Abreu is ever vigilant, trying to get to the numbers that he believes he should be at. 100 runs batted in, 30 home runs, and a 300 batting average, and he's getting close to the 300 batting average. He had 2 more hits last night, meaning a multi-hit game twice in a row, and the big man is swinging it and swinging it well. And against these Blue Jays, he's absolutely killed them. Hitting .364, you see a home run, 3 doubles, 8 driven in. And so he hasn't exactly been a one-man gang, but close to it, as our Sox have beaten this Toronto team 10 of the last 13 times.
And Abreu's been a wrecking ball against left-handed pitchers this year. He will face a left-hander today.
We got a battle of left-handers as J.A. Happ goes to the mound. He's a local product. He's a soft-tossing left-hander who had a great year last year, but having a tough time this year. The last 4 starts, as you can see, not very pretty. Derek Holland, his last 5 starts, is even less pretty. Hoping not to roll the breaking ball today. It's going to be very lively at the ballpark. It's a warm day. The wind is blowing out, so it should be interesting. And hopefully the ball will stay in the park off the Blue Jay bats.
Sox and Blue Jays, game number 3 of this series, and this is the rubber match between the Sox and Toronto. Game 3 coming up.
Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Welcome to the ballpark on this lovely Wednesday afternoon. It's getaway day for the Sox and Blue Jays. The Sox will be shuffling off to Boston. The Blue Jays will head to Houston after today's game, this being the rubber match of a 3-game series. And Derek Holland is on the mound against Toronto. Derek, for his career, has a .398 earned run average in day games. He likes the sun.
That'll be put to the test today because Blue Jays are swinging the bat, and they've got some potent bats in the middle.
13 hits for the 5th time this year. It came last night for the Blue Jays. Bautista, Donaldson, and Smoke. Martin is out today, so everybody moves up 1. Morales to 4. Pierce to 5. Pilar. Refsnyder is in. Montero, the former Northsider, batting 8th. And Darwin Barney hits 9th.
Let's take a look at the defense and how they're going to line up behind Derek Holland, left to right. Nicky Delmonico, Adam Engel, and Leury Garcia. In the infield, it's Saladino, Anderson, Sanchez, and Abreu, with Kevin Smith getting the nod behind the plate. And our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Derek Holland, who really has struggled of late. There you look at the numbers, the ERA up close to 5.5. And he's had some big problems with the right-handers, hitting .302 against him. Umpires for the game this afternoon. Les Diaz has the plate. The crew chief Larry Vanover is at first, Chad Fairchild at second, and David Rackley is at third base. And it would appear that we're ready for baseball. Trying to win the series against the boys from north of the border. And they've thrown the ball around, which means we are knocking at the door, ready to start this ball game. And I turn it over to the effervescent Jason Benetti.
I would dispute that, but we don't have that kind of time. Bautista leads it off for the Blue Jays, who hit .243 as a group. That's 27th in Major League Baseball. The numbers are down from last year. They hit .248 as a team last season, but what has really changed is the ability to take a walk. They were 6th in on-base percentage last year. One of the better offensive teams in Major League Baseball last 2 playoff seasons, and there's been a drop-off this season.
The losing Encarnacion will do it for you.
Big bat that has disappeared. First pitch, 110 today. Bob Rosenberg has the day off. Don Frisky officially scoring today. Ball and a strike on Bautista, who's only hitting .174 against left-handed pitching this season. He's 1 for 9 in the series. And this goes to third, where Tyler Saladino's in charge for out number 1. Sox and Blue Jays last night got a little bit chippy, as they say, with Tim Anderson and Marcus Stroman jawing at each other. The benches started to spill out onto the field. The bullpens came rushing in, and it was much ado about nothing much.
A little stare down between Marcus Stroman and Tim Anderson. Fortunately, nobody was ejected, and I doubt if anybody will be fined for that, but we probably won't know about it if they are.
Josh Donaldson, who we told you about earlier on, with a home run in each of the first 2 first innings of this series, now up into the 2 spot after batting third those first 2 nights.
Derek Holland has thrown 25 home run balls. That's in 106 innings, so that's a pretty high total. A lot of them on a rolling breaking ball.
Only 3 of those home runs, 3 of the 25, came in his first 6 starts of the year.
He was right on top of everything, and then all of a sudden it went away, and he hasn't been able to find it quite yet.
Tomahawk to third. Saladino once again with a nice pick. And Abreu with his patented fade into foul ground for out number 2.
It's a good sign that the first 2 hitters have hit the ball on the ground, because normally Holland will throw lots of fly balls. The fact that he's keeping it down, getting the ground balls, is a good sign from him.
Two down for Justin Smoke, who, like Donaldson, has a home run in the first 2 games of this series. Toronto 144 homers, 13th in Major League Baseball, and Smoke has a good chunk of those. 31 of the 133 to this guy, who's ahead in the count 2-0.
Much better right-hand hitter, hitting .398 as a righty, just .274 as a lefty, but overall 73 driven in. He's been the big man in the middle.
Smoke to left field, and the first hit today for the Blue Jays is a 2-out first inning single. Moves it up to the 4th hitter, Kendrys Morales, who so far in this series is 3 out of 7, 2 hits in the opener. As the Blue Jays went out to a 6-0 lead in the first game of this series, Sox came storming back with 7 unanswered, including a Matt Davidson walk-off to win the game.
Nice stop by Kevin as he makes sure there's no advancement from Justin Smoke. Smoke is trying to steal only 1 base this year. He was not successful in trying it. So you're not going to see him run very often. That might have been the front end of a hit and run that went awry.
That's in for a strike. 1-1 from Holland to Morales. Derek, a 6.99 ERA against the Blue Jays for his career. Morales has 6 hits against Holland, 24 at bats, so a .250 average, but 5 of those 6 hits have been doubles.
Well, he's strong enough from both sides of the plate. So he's got to plug a gap to get a 2-base hit because of lack of speed, but the rest of his game is pretty solid.
Oh, now last night he was chugging around the bases, though.
He did. He scored from first. Needed maybe a little oxygen, but he did score from first.
He was gassed at the end of that trip. Two balls and 2 strikes on Morales. Smoke at first. Blue Jays trying to score in the first inning for the 3rd straight game in this series. Last time out, the 5 walks for Derek Holland was a season high. He's had 4 games this year with 4 or more walks. That's called inside, ball 4.
Kevin Smith was walking off toward the dugout. And this ball had the strike zone. In fact, it had most of the strike zone. Did not get the call. Pretty good pitch. I mean, normally if Kevin thought it was well inside, he would have moved the glove. He moved it ever so slightly, but it turns into the walk.
And the move toward the dugout by Smith and Holland didn't look like a sell job. It looked like sheer confidence that that was a strike.
It should have been, but more pitches coming up.
See how many more. Pierce takes a strike. Steve Pierce only .224 the batting average against left-handers this year. 2 of his 10 home runs are walk-off grand slams. Within a week.
Pretty amazing.
And you look and you say, well, 33 runs driven in. He's had 8 of them in that 2 swings. Behind that one, 1-2 on Pierce with Kevin Pillar on deck.
outfield fairly straight away. Pierce, more times than not, is going after the long ball, meaning he's going to try to pull just about everything.
One and two. Here's grounds it foul. Here's who walked a pair of times in the opener, then yesterday had an RBI double on the first pitch he saw in the 7th inning. It was off of Gregory Infante, one of 3 relievers for the Sox last night. On the ground is shortstop. Anderson to second, and the inning's over. So for Derek Holland, an extra 5 pitches, but no harm done. Bottom 1, Jay Happ coming for the Blue Jays. For the best lineup of Chevys, Fords, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundais at the best price, go to webcars.com. Tim Anderson at the top of the lineup today, followed by Saladino and Abreu. Kevin Smith as high as we've seen him in the 4 spot ahead of Delmonico, then Garcia, Sanchez, Hansen, and Engel.
Let's take up the defense and how they're going to line up behind J.A. Happ. Steve Pearce, Kevin Pillar, Jose Bautista in the outfield. Then it's Donaldson, Barney with a gold glove, Ref Snyder, and Smoke in the infield. Miguel Montero gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher is J.A. Happ. He had some elbow problems. Put him on the shelf for about a month. There you look at the numbers, and this is 15th start, his ERA. 4.15. He has gotten a bit better. And it says the arm is 100%.
First pitch today is down low to Tim Anderson, who had an eventful night with Marcus Stroman, the Toronto starter, yesterday. Tim had called timeout during an at-bat against Stroman, and in Tim's words, quote, "I stepped out and he just complains and cries like he always does." And in Stroman's words, "I don't understand why he'd be running his mouth walking back to the dugout after the strikeout." So there was a timeout called in the middle of the at-bat. Here's the strikeout. Anderson kind of staring toward the mound. He thought Stroman mumbled something under his breath, and Stroman turns back, and everybody comes out to defend their own guys. Nice work by Todd Steverson to defuse the situation. Ground ball to second, and Rob Refsnyder to not get the out.
There's an example of a veteran player and a good one. And Justin Smoke had no idea where Refsnyder was. If he had had any idea, if he had just looked to his right, he would have seen Refsnyder's going to make this play easily. But he strays so far off the bag that he can't get back. By the time he does, he couldn't right his footwork, so it does go as a base hit. Pretty much a mental mistake by Smoke, not picking up where Refsnyder was, and it cost him.
You're Jay Happ, you're pretty unhappy that becomes a base hit.
True.
But time to pitch over it, or not.
Tim Anderson sniffing a base hit all the way, beat the play at first.
Saladino, a bunt that's foul. Tyler was 2 for 3 last night with a run and a walk. Averaged to 203 starting play today.
What if John Gibbons actually wanted that play reviewed at first base, because he just came out and had a talk with Laz Diaz behind the plate. But with a pitch thrown, it's a moot point now.
Well, Sox would take it because he'd lose his challenge for the day. He was clearly safe. Ball and a strike on Saladino.
Cap has a cutter, but throws more fastballs percentage-wise than just about anybody around. It's a good fastball. He has some deception, so hitters don't pick it up quite as quickly.
Two balls and a strike on Saladino.
Last year, Happ was 20-4 with a 3.18 ERA and 32 starts. So a magnificent year for him this year. The elbow was balky, and still hasn't had that great command that he normally has.
The walk numbers for the last 6 starts, at least 2 walks in each of those last 6 outings for Jay Happ after 4 starts with 0 walks between April 5th and June 23rd. The strikeout rate is also well down in the last handful of starts. Saladino to third, and out number 1, well struck. Time now for picks to click. Don't forget, as always, you can vote online via whitesox.com/pick-to-click. The Crew has the lead at 17-14 over Steve. They're going Saladino. Steve will go Smith. I'll take Nicky Delmonico after his first career hit late last night. And you, the fan, have Leury Garcia, who's batting 6th today. Jose Abreu hitting .370 against lefties, a double in 3 straight games.
And loves to hit against these Blue Jays, whoever they send to the mound.
He loves to hit against a good number of teams.
Yes, he does. And he has. His number's getting closer to where he figures he's going to wind up. That's in excess of 100 runs batted in, and knocking at the door of 30 homers.
For his career against lefties and righties, the splits are .298 and .299.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a quality right-hand hitter, you don't mind facing right-hand pitchers. There's a lot of right-hand hitters that would rather face right-handers because they face them more. And they like the fact that the breaking ball is going away from them as opposed to coming in.
Two and 0. Check swing, and he didn't go, says Larry Vanover at first. 3-0.
You can see the difference this year. He has torched the left-handers.
Not close. Ball 4, so 2 on with 1 out for Kevin Smith.
That was probably as close to a pitch around as you're going to see. He just absolutely wanted no part of Jose, and you can't really blame him. You got Kevin Smith and Nicky Delmonico, a couple of guys without a whole lot of major league experience.
And you could have a great season but not have big name recognition and still have that lead to a pitch around.
Yep, no doubt.
Kevin Smith, though, does have this in the bank against the Blue Jays. It came last night.
In a pinch hitting role, he took the ball out of the ballpark. Added another hit the next time up, and it was a very successful night for a man who didn't start.
He was in because Matt Davidson was hit by a pitch and left with a bruised right wrist. Smith with a base hit to left field here. Tim Anderson stopped at third. The bases will be loaded.
I think you got to run on Steve Pearce's arm. That ball did get through the left side, and it looked like Anderson was going to score fairly easily. But Ever Magianis decided to hold him there.
Well, Sox had a runner thrown out at the plate last night. It was Kevin Smith, who was cut down in the 8th inning. So maybe Ever decides early in the game today to be a little bit more conservative.
Maybe 2 outs, you take that gamble. 1 out, he decided it wasn't worth the gamble. So you got him loaded.
A big spot for Nicky Delmonico in his 2nd major league game. He hit .250 against lefties with Charlotte in AAA this year. First pitch is a strike. Couple years removed from being an A-ball with the Sox. He started with single A Kannapolis. So you see Anderson, Abreu, and Smith on the bases. Happ pumps in a 2nd strike. Nicky Delmonico, who called last night a dream come true. Fouls it away. And part of that dream coming true is your first major league hit.
He went down, got a sinker, dumped it into center field. And a very happy man, as well as a very happy family. Family in attendance. See the first ever major league base hit.
Ball and 2 strikes on Delmonico. He's 25 years old, on his 3rd organization. Orioles, Brewers, and now White Sox. Strike 3, 2 down.
Changed eye levels on that last pitch. And he got the strikeout. Some good high heat. It's out away, and Nicky can't check it up and doesn't make contact.
Bases left loaded for Leury Garcia. 2 out in the 1st inning. Sox and Blue Jays just underway in game 3 and the final game between these two this season.
That was off the thigh.
Well, the Sox don't need Herm Schneider to be in charge of anybody else's health right now, considering Moncada and Garcia's collision. Davidson hit by the pitch.
It's awfully high up to get hit by a foul ball off the bat. Considering it was the back leg, it's even more unusual.
Tapper back to the mound. Happ with the scoop to Montero, and that retires the side. So 5 runners stranded combined in the 1st inning and no score. State Farm, and we'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on Lisco in Fairfield, Iowa.
There's a bunch of them watching.
You ever watch on Lisco?
Just passing through.
Oh, I think it's the company. You pass through copper wires?
Yes, sure.
It's interesting. It's a family day here at the ballpark. We see a lot of color coordinated shirts in the upper deck at the ballpark, which means that there are camp groups here.
A lot of them.
That is that's the most difficult day for a camp counselor, is bring 30 kids to the ballpark and keep track of all of them.
Pretty much like herding cats.
It is no fun. There they are. I mean, yeah, there are 30 of them, 20, 30 usually, and you have to basically say, okay, stay in your seats, and then as a group, we're going to go get food. Or you say, we only get food from vendors that walk by, and you just have to sit there the whole time. You can't go anywhere. There's a swing and a miss. Derek Holland, quick work of Kevin Pillar for round number 1 here in the second inning.
First strikeout for Derek. Slow breaking ball, but it got the job done. Biting down and in, and Pillar well over the top.
There was a group when I worked as a camp counselor. There was a group that went to Great America with the kids. It's hard to keep track of a family of 4 at Great America.
No, that would be a tough task. I did counsel at camp one year.
Did you really?
Yes.
How'd that go?
Well, there was a couple of difficulties. One I will share with you. It was horseback riding day, and not being a great cowboy from Ohio, they talked me into riding this horse. As you know, I was leading from behind, as it were, because I was the last one in line. So that hit.
Snyder gets hit.
Anyway, I get up on the horse, and the guy tells me, now, he can sense if you're afraid of him or if you're not really happy with this, whatever. So, you know, you have to be confident and a bit aggressive. And so I said, great. Well, the horse knew that I had no idea how to steer him.
He sensed
he
your
knew that.
fear?
Oh yeah. So what he did was, on the path, he stayed on one side, and that side has rose bushes on it. And he was, well, anyway, my left leg was a mess thanks to the horse, who decided then that he wanted to stop. We were out on the outward leg of this fairly long afternoon. He wanted to stop. Me and the horse together walked back, but he wouldn't allow me back on his back. So that was one of the last times I
What did he
got
do
on a
when you
horse.
tried to get back on him? Did he dump you off?
No, he just refused to allow that. He refused to walk any further, going away from the barn. So we both went back to the barn.
So he dragged you through the rose bushes,
Yeah, that
then
was
made
horrible.
you walk him home.
I know, he was a bitter horse. Who figures I would get a bitter horse?
Little known fact, horse's name was Dwayne Kuiper.
Oh, no. I don't think. Maybe.
Not that he was bitter, but he dragged you through the rose bushes.
True.
Ball and 2 strikes on Montero. That's a reason to go ahead and try horseback riding again later in life, I think, for you.
Well, depending. I could get a horse upstairs to the apartment, feed him a little bit, maybe make friends with him.
You see Steve in the lobby? He had a horse with him. Ball and 2 strikes on Montero. 34th at bat with the Blue Jays after spending the bulk of the season with the Cubs and leaving in what could amount to be, ironically, a blaze of glory.
He was with him. He got the ring. And then commented that perhaps the pitchers weren't holding runners quite as close as he would like. And that was enough to have the Cubs bid him a fond farewell.
Garner a call from Human Resources. Montero fouls it away. He wasn't wrong that it was difficult at times to do his job considering the time to the plate. However, the pitchers were also not wrong in saying don't say that.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have an issue, throw everybody else out when we give you a chance. On the ground, first base, that's a fair ball, and the Sox will get 1 out of it. Abreu with a nice play. Ref Snyder to second.
We'll take a look at Jose again. It's a fair ball. He steps on the bag. There's the out, meaning you have to tag the lead runner. In this case, Ref Snyder, and he's in. Nice play again by Jose, who's had a great defensive series. He's made some sparkling plays at first base.
Also part of that pop-up that went off, one glove into the other between Abreu and Hansen. There's strike one to Darwin Barney, another former Cub, batting ninth.
He's been very troublesome in this short series so far. Not only making every play, but hitting the ball.
It's been more I love you than you love me in this series. Runners off, throw to third is not in time. Stolen base for Ref Snyder.
It's a good aggressive play. With 2 outs, you got to make sure you're going to make it. He did without a play, but it doesn't help you near as much as if you're on second base trying to steal third with only 1 out. That brings the sacrifice fly into play, or with the infield back, just a mere ground ball gets you the run. In this case, with 2 outs, a different scenario.
The improvement in terms of run percentage is the possible wild pitch.
I mean, it's a good thing, and he made it uncontested, so he obviously got a great break. And we'll see if there is any advantage to being at third with 2 outs.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Bookend strikeouts for Derek Holland. Ref Snyder stranded. And coming back in the bottom of the second, Sierra's got an injury update. Santos. Sierra.
All right, thanks, Jason. You guys already mentioned that Matt Davidson is not in the lineup. He is day-to-day after taking that pitch off of his right wrist. As for Willie Garcia, I saw him in the dugout before the game. The side of his face is still pretty swollen. He says he's having some sensitivity with his hearing. He's following concussion protocol. Yoan Moncada, Ricky Renteria says they'll give him 1 more day before bringing him back into the lineup. And Abisail Garcia, they said there's really no need to rush him right now. I asked Ricky if he would be making the trip to Boston. He said it was something that they were going to discuss before the game. I also asked Willie the same thing, and he said he was going to talk it over with Ricky, so we'll be sure to update you guys on whether they will be making this road trip.
Sierra, thank you for that update. And the Sox are playing with a really short bench today because of those injuries. There were only 3 on the bench in the first place, and 2 were on that list Sierra's talking about.
That was a very nice job by Sierra. Good information, and hopefully everybody gets back in the not too distant future. We know Moncada's going to come back more quickly, and you would think that Davidson after a day or so would come back also.
We'll take attendance on the plane.
See who's there, who's not. That little fan, not worried about any planes, but that ice cream sandwich looking awfully good.
Don't you kind of long for the days when that's your only trouble and it's not even a trouble, because kids don't even know that there's ice cream all over their faces. They just enjoy the thing.
That's what it should be.
Chipping away. Two and two. Chopper third base side. Donaldson on the charge. Gloves it nicely and makes the peg for out number 1. Sanchez out. The 2017 Chicago White Sox, presented by Guaranteed Rate. Thinking about buying a home? Visit rate.com to find a low mortgage rate and a fast and easy process. A couple of nice plays in this series from Donaldson at third.
He's done a nice job. Actually, inner defense of both teams has been very good in this series. We've seen some sparkling defensive plays. Those really make pitchers happy.
Ball number 1 from Jay Happ to Alan Hansen. Allen with a beautiful jumping grab in this series in right field to steal a home run. Donaldson at third, gets around it and slings to first. 2 away.
Happ is going to throw you fastballs. A lot of them are going to be in under your hands if you're a right-hand hitter. And he came to the realization during the course of this year that when he came back from the disabled list, he felt he was being too tentative. He was nipping at the corners. He decided that he would just go right at the hitters. He was talking about Clayton Kershaw and how he just gets the ball and goes right at hitters, uses his fastball a lot as well as that cutter that he has. And Happ said that that's the way he would like to be. Very few people can be that good, but he's picking a pretty good role model, and the end result, he speeds it up, works better for him.
I mean, for a starting pitcher to throw 73% fastballs is significant.
Well, there's only one who had many more than that I remember, and that's Bartolo Colon, who would throw at times, he'd throw 98% fastballs, but his ability to make it move and pinpoint the corners, I mean, allowed him to pitch seemingly forever.
Still.
Yep. Yeah, he's a very nice man, very popular teammate.
Can really swing it too, as we found out.
Yeah.
Another fastball, another strikeout. 1-2-3 inning for Happ. We go to the third, no score. continue to jockey for first place in the American League East. We'll see the Red Sox tomorrow, Thursday through Sunday at Fenway Park. It is Trevor Bauer and Rick Porcello, the pitching matchup between the Indians and Red Sox tonight. That's a 7:10 Eastern time, so the Sox likely will be in Boston before that game comes to an end.
Well, you certainly hope so. That series, by the way, in Boston. Miguel Gonzalez against Eduardo Rodriguez. Carlos Rodon against Drew Pomeranz in the second game. James Shields against Doug Fister. And then the finale on Sunday, Mike Pelfrey goes head-to-head with Chris Sale. He of the 13-4 and 2.70 ERAs, Sales.
He can pitch. It's a ground ball behind the mound, off the mound to second base, and Sanchez off the awkward bounce. Let's take a look around Major League Baseball and see another former Sox player with an absolutely wild catch. You were talking about the crannies at Fenway Park. Austin Jackson makes close friends in the bullpen, head over heels in glove to make the grab. What a play by Austin Jackson.
Well, what really saved him there, he was able with his right arm to grab the rail so that when he flipped over, he didn't fall on his head or fall awkwardly or twist something. It was a great catch. What a job that was.
We saw early last season Austin Jackson can play center field. The speed may not be the same as it was before, but boy, the angles are outstanding.
That's what got him to Detroit in the first place, with Curtis Granderson going to the Yankees. And at that point, Jackson was a burner and could cover him alley to alley in Detroit.
It was a great reaction by, when you look at the center field angle, somebody took a still picture and there's a woman who's essentially right over top of one of the legs, and with the depth perception, she's got her hands on her head and her mouth wide open like, what's that? Just hovering over his foot. 2-1 to Donaldson, who grounded out to third in the first inning. Derek Holland in his first season with the Sox after a long career with the Texas Rangers. Had a couple of great playoff starts for Texas. Ball four. Second walk for Holland. Friday, August 11th, it's rock and roll night, presented by Guaranteed Rate as the Sox take on the Royals, 7:10 p.m. Join us as we rock out to live cover bands before and during the game. Plus, be sure to stay for the post-game fireworks show. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com. Rock and roll night, Friday the 11th. That's 9 days from now. No guarantee that 9 days will be played, any of their hits.
Should be a fun night, though.
You gonna dress up? Hairband, wig, Devo hat?
Yeah, I think, well, maybe. Depending on what I can dig out of my closet. We'll see.
You have a Devo hat in your closet?
I got lots of things.
I wouldn't want to be your closet organizer.
No. There's no organization whatsoever.
Donaldson at first for Smoke.
Smoke has the only hit for the Blue Jays, a ringing single with 2 outs, nobody on in the first.
And these two being former AL West compatriots, Smoke and Holland, they've seen each other quite a bit. This is at bat number 31 in Smoke's career against Holland.
There's a very good chance at one point they were teammates, because Smoke was brought to the major leagues by the Texas Rangers, who year after year seem to be able to produce a lot of hard-hitting first basemen. Now, many of them go elsewhere, but they've developed a few.
Smoke hammers it to left center field, up the alleyway, in trouble all the way to the warning track. Engel trying to get it in. Donaldson around third, and he scores as the Blue Jays take the first lead in today's game. Smoke doubles in Donaldson.
RBI number 74 for a bona fide candidate for the MVP, Justin Smoke. He does it every which way. He's 2 for 2 today. He's going to probably drive in 120, close to it. And Donaldson scores easily as this throw gets away.
Just run number 30 this year for Donaldson. As the wind kicks up, Morales fouls the ball away. In terms of wins above replacement, that overarching stat WAR by Fangraphs, Smoke is in the top 20 at 3.5. In terms of hitters, Aaron Judge is number 1 at 5.8, followed by Altuve, then the Nationals 2 guys, Rendon and Harper.
Morales couldn't wait back long enough on that off-speed breaking ball. Cued it off the end of the bat. For him, fortunately, it spun foul.
Smoke at second, 0-2. Inside. Andrelton Simmons, by the way, is having a great year. Just looking at the WAR leaders, he's 10th in Major League Baseball. He's hitting .301, 350 on base, .458 slugging.
And his defense is spectacular. He's got one of the strongest arms in baseball.
Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Blue Jays have led first in every game in this series. They led big 2 nights ago, 6-0. Sox came quickly back in the final 3 innings, and last night Toronto expanded the lead enough to win by the count of 8-4.
Here's a look at John Gibbons in his second go-round as a manager of the Blue Jays. Recently signed an extension.
Three and 2. Fouled off.
Morales that time did a nice job of staying alive because that pitch was too close to take. So not leaving it in the hands of Laz Diaz probably a good thing. Slow breaking ball. Looking for the strikeout on the outside corner and didn't get it.
Three and 2. On the ground to third. Saladino off the backhand for out number 2. Smoke stays at second. Blue Jays will be on the road for Houston. Then a homestand with 3 different segments: the Yankees, the Pirates, and the Rays, before coming back to Chicago, in fact, to take on the Cubs the 3rd weekend in August. The Miguel Montero reunion game.
That should prove pretty interesting. Meeting at the mound to discuss Pierce, and I'm sure talking about early in the count throwing fastballs to a very aggressive fastball hitter, especially middle in.
There's a strike on the first pitch, and pretty good location.
Threw it where he wanted it. He got it inside.
Ball and a strike. 58 pitches so far for Holland through 2 2/3. Blue Jays yesterday walked 7 times in the game, 3 times in the opener. Throw to second, they've got it. He is out. Smoke. Had a tag in his eyes. 1-0 Blue Jays. We'll hear from Rick Hahn after this. With White Sox general manager Rick Hahn, and I asked him exactly how he's going to evaluate the last couple of months of this season.
We're looking at a lot of different things, other things that we feel are going to be more important once the roster personnel is up to the level of being able to contend for a championship. What kind of environment are they creating? How are they preparing for games? How are they expressing the players how we expect them to play the game and holding them accountable whether if the players fall short or meet or exceed expectations.
That goes along with players-only meeting that Jose Abreu and a couple of others were involved in, as that ball is socked to right center by Tim Anderson. We've seen him go the opposite way twice in this series, and he turns on the afterburners. Anderson to third, sliding in. The throw was well late. Tim with a triple.
It's a pleasure to watch Tim Anderson going from first to third because he's got long strides. He's very quick, and there was literally no chance to get him as he runs this into a triple. He is hustling down the line, thinking at least 2, possibly 3. Now he sees where the ball is, and the fact it's not in yet, and he's off to the races, making it easily.
Second triple for Tim. And on that players-only meeting, part of the subject matter was making sure that the way you play the game is the right way. And with the infield in at the corners, Happ gets the ground ball that he wants. It goes to Donaldson, and 1 away for Abreu. But Rick Hahn, and you can see part 1 of the conversation online right now at WhiteSox.com or on Twitter, the @WhiteSox account just posted it right before the game. But there's a lot to evaluate with some of these young players, including how they handle the situation of being in the big leagues for the first time.
A lot of them are so young that you don't think about them coming up for some time, but there's a few guys that are knocking at the door. We'll probably see them this year.
One of the guys, Ronaldo Lopez, was named the White Sox minor league pitcher of the month just today. The hitters of the month were co-winners, co-players of the month, Eloy Jimenez and Jake Peter, who had an 18-game hit streak broken just a couple of days ago. Now the Jays have the infield in, and Refsnyder with a great pick on the Abreu ball. So 2 down. Anderson still at third for Kevin Smith.
You might remember Rob Refsnyder from his times with the Yankees, but he's got very good hands. He's a versatile player. You can play him just about anywhere. The Yankees did that. And another hard hit ball off the bat of Abreu, picked easily, and no advancement from Anderson at third.
So what looked like it might be fish in a barrel has 3 pitches later become runner at third, 2 out. Sox attacking early on Happ and his fastball heavy arsenal.
This becomes a fairly big out, and the reason is you got the tying run 90 feet away, and you had him there with nobody out. To come up empty this inning puts a lot of momentum right into the back pocket of J.A. Happ.
It's called a strike on a ball that was slightly outside, 1-1. Have your Sox math question coming up in the 4th, as you're reminded by our score graphic up there. Graphic loves Sox math. 2 balls and a strike on Smith, and now I know somebody's going to create White Sox score bug on Twitter and try to win Sox math. 2-1 to third base, and Donaldson, and Jay Happ has pitched around major trouble early in the inning. Leadoff triple, does not score, and we'll go to the 4th. A hat for you if you win.
It's a good hat. It's a Margaritaville hat. That was the promotion last night, and here it is. You're going to be one of the last in your neighborhood to be able to get one of these, so I think I would jump on it.
Or the Sox socks from 1917. They're a little big, but they are nice looking, aren't they?
They had very long legs in 1917, so you can understand why those are the length they are.
It's been 11 days since a ball came into the booth, by the way, a new record. Safety first.
I got to make sure the gnome is nowhere near me. I have a tendency to break gnomes.
Social gnomes?
Just that guy.
Noam Chomsky?
Him too.
This is ball number 1 to Steve Pearce, who was left holding the check for the 3rd inning with smoke picked off at second base. That is a foul ball.
I think we're going to see a lot more from the Sox of what they just pulled off with Yolmer and Darrett. We've seen more and more pickoff plays in this particular stint of managing from Ricky Renteria, and I assume we're going to see more of them.
Saladino at third has had a beautiful series, and there is out number 1. Come together, Beatles night, Guaranteed Rate Field, Monday, August 21st. Twist and shout to your favorite Beatles songs as the Sox take on the Minnesota Twins. Purchase this ticket package to receive a game ticket and commemorative Beatles White Sox hat. Visit whitesox.com/Beatles to get yours today. Steve will be dressed up as the tax man for that game.
I think, well, no, I wouldn't do that.
What about a paperback writer?
Could very well do that. Good tune. We'll check on the costume.
Were your books hardcover or paperback or both?
When
you wrote books. You've written a couple books.
Very hard covers.
So you could be hardcover writer for Beatles night.
Okay, that'd be good.
Could be your cover band, your Beatles cover band that you're the front man of, hardcover writer.
I just like the outfits from the 100th year anniversary of the 1917 world champion Chicago White Sox.
Your Beatles cover band could wear those.
They could.
Mike Meyer could be your roadie. He didn't really like that idea.
Nah, I can
From
see.
the high home camera position. Three balls and a strike on Pilar, who struck out in the second inning. In the air right field, Leury Garcia is underneath and 2 away here in the 4th.
Compared with a lot of things recently, Derek Holland has thrown the ball very well here today. That curveball is not rolling as much as it's breaking sharply, whether he throws it a little bit harder or a little slower. This is the best breaking ball we've seen from Derek in quite some time.
He'll always throw inside to right-handers, and there's ball number 1 on Ref Snyder. Here's your Sox Math question for today. Hashtag Sox Math on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize. Number of at-bats Nicky Delmonico had before his first MLB hit at bat, multiplied by his jerseys, subtracted the number of games in the 93 ALCS. And then number 4 is add the number of games the next series in Boston. And you can answer now. 1-2-3 inning for Derek Holland. Bottom 4 coming next in a 1-0 score. if you're playing at home. In fact, that's the only place you can't play in the booth. You can play any other place too. Number of at-bats for Delmonico multiplied by the number on his jersey minus the number of games in the 93 ALCS plus the number of games the next series at Boston. That's your Sox math question for today. Today is Wednesday, and that is a special day at the ballpark because, Steve,
Dollar hot dog days.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a very special day. And you've got 4 of them sitting right there.
They're meant to share. Molly brought up some hot dogs for us, and I think Molly has a sense of humor.
I noticed there was one there for you that...
I'm going to give you yours. Okay?
No, you're not going to give me the one with ketchup on it.
On the ground to shortstop, and Darwin Barney retires Delmonico. Here's yours. And then here's mine.
See,
this one has mustard on it.
You can see Jason has tried to foist upon me.
He's the one that has it in his hands, right? Possession 9/10 of the law.
A ketchup-laden dog. I prefer that dog, all things considered.
I prefer this one as well.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, take the one where you get a little of both. There's 2 over there.
Yeah.
Some ketchup and
How does
mustard.
everybody feel about mustard and ketchup on a hot dog at the same time? How do you feel about that? You good with that?
No.
You?
No.
No? Nice presentation, though.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
They're using a better grade of cardboard box.
What? I meant on the dog. You nitwit. Ball to strike on Garcia. 1 out, 4th inning. Sox are down a run on the 3rd inning score off the RBI double from Justin Smoke.
A lot of youngsters at the ballpark today. 83 degrees at game time.
How many degrees?
83.
That is nice. Nice day at the ballpark.
And a lot of the youngsters have shown up, certainly enjoying the concession stands.
On the ground and foul wide of 3rd. Jay Happ just 48 pitches through 3 1/3 today. Called strike 3 on Garcia, right on the fringe. So strikeout number 3 for Happ.
Well, it's a combination of a couple different things. Number one, it is getaway day, and everybody will be moving on to other venues. But also, Happ's been around the plate. If you're around the plate, you're going to get that pitch. Now, there's a very good chance that one had most of the plate anyway. But because he's thrown a lot of strikes, because he has just 1 walk, he's going to get the benefit of the close calls from Laz Diaz.
Strike 1 to Yolmer Sanchez. That walk was to the 3rd batter of the game, and you believe, I mean, it looked like a pitch around, right?
That's exactly what it was. And so he realized, as many people before him have, that Jose Abreu can do you a lot of damage in a situation where you're either a run ahead or you're in a tie game. So he decided to not put him on, but just pitch around him, inviting him to get himself out of the strike zone, which Jose didn't. And that was the only walk.
Just missed 2-1 to Sanchez.
I think what a lot of pitchers will do, and they're doing it more and more these days, picking out one guy in the lineup, they will not allow that guy to beat them unless he's coming up with the bases loaded.
In the air, center field, Kevin Pillar, a 1-2-3 inning, 6 in a row, retired by Happ since the triple from Anderson in the 3rd.
card, debit card, only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. So you can go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC. Jason just accomplished something that was very impressive. Looked a little like Kobayashi there for a bit, trying to down that dog before coming back live on the air.
So that's one during a break.
Successfully done. Very good.
One during a break.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're going to get to 4.
Give it a shot.
I have to start dipping the buns in the water bottle here in the booth.
Not that much of a shot.
If you're going to do it right.
True.
$1 hot dog day, you got to celebrate.
I would certainly think so, and a good day for it.
Yeah, we're not going to get much past 2 hot dogs. Ball to strike on Montero. Third base side, Saladino to the bare hand from the line. He whistles it over and safe.
Jose thought he had him.
I thought so too.
And they're going to take a look at it for sure. And Ricky is letting Les Diaz knows that he wants a minute to take a look. Terrific play by Saladino. This is a squibber off the end of the bat. He gets it there in time. And if Jose's foot's on the bag, and it appears to be, I mean, he's out easily at first base. That wasn't even close.
Crowd reacts.
Just another fine play by Abreu and a good effort by Tyler Saladino.
You think I can do hot dog number 2 during the replay?
I think this will be fairly quick.
Let's see.
Taking another look on the squibber. Montero, a catcher, not known for his speed. Jose with a good pick. The ball's in the glove. The foot's clearly on the bag. I'm not sure how you can possibly challenge that unless you decide you want to lose your challenges early. So that's it. And our Sox retain their challenge.
How they made it through 3/4 of the dog.
I know. It's you slowed down, which is kind of disappointing.
Well, it was a fast replay.
Have you heard of goal gradient?
No.
Well, that's why you didn't finish that. Goal gradient means you speed up as you get closer to the end of whatever task that you are trying to accomplish.
I thought it was an ingredient.
Close to it.
I like my hot dog with mustard and goal gradient.
Well, you didn't speed up at the end, so you're not eligible for that.
What? Base is clear, and Barney hacks that foul, and in fact ricocheted all the way back to Saladino at third.
There's been 10 plays made combined by the third baseman. And that's why for left-handed pitchers who throw a lot of breaking balls and throw inside to the right-hand hitters, you better have a strong left side of the infield.
Anderson can't get there. And Barney is on.
Another play to the left side. This one sneaking under Tim Anderson's glove. And Darwin Barney, who's become quite a pest in this series, on base again.
By the way, Matt from Chicago has tweeted in, "Please take that vile hot dog off my TV," referring to the ketchup one.
There you go.
Thanks, Matt. First base side, Abreu rushes in and save to call it second base.
Well, there was one problem as I see, and that is that there was nobody covering first, and Jose thought he had a good shot at him, but Darwin Barney runs pretty well. And it goes as a base hit. He is on the bag, and a good call by Chad Fairchild. Derek Holland almost got one in the ear as he got very close as Jose was turning around to make that throw to second. Holland had to get down in a hurry. But it leaves couple of men on.
For Josh Donaldson, who scored the only run so far in today's game after a smoke double in the third. Ripped foul, third base side.
Getting to the point now, ideally, and this is ideal because, I mean, we've seen Derek enough to know his comfort zone, a lot like Jose Quintana's comfort zone, is inside to the right-hand hitters. But when you're going through the lineup now for the third time, you've got to give them a different look, or they're going to start hitting the baseball with authority.
Called a strike, 0-2. Derek will certainly take it.
Good spot, and when you've gotten a pitch that's clearly an inch or two off the outside corner, and you're this far ahead of the hitter, it's nice to go back out there again and see just how far Laz Diaz's outside corner will reach.
Went back in, 1-2. Thirty-year-old left-hander Derek Holland, who had no strikeouts in his last start, bidding for one against Donaldson here. Inside.
And another meeting at the mound, and everybody will attend it.
Here's your Sox Math winner for today. If you enjoyed playing the piano, you had the answer. 88 is the answer. 3 times 30 minus 6 games. 4-2, the Blue Jays won that ALCS. Plus 4, the number of games the next series at Boston. A. Lipinski 3 is your winner. Congratulations.
Nice job, and he got that relatively quickly. That's not an easy one today.
Well, that was fast. Really fast.
Really fast, I know. It's almost like I gave him the answer ahead of time.
Is that who you were texting earlier? You have people's Twitter handles in your phone. You can text them directly.
Well, I've got, as I look at my phone now, I've got 14 Lipinskis, so I'm not sure if I picked out the right one or not.
Is Taro one of them?
No, but that would have been a good choice. A selfie at the old ball yard.
2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Big second out for Derek.
Instead of staying inside, that one was on the outer third. Good spot to go to, and he throws it by him. Kevin Smith set up in a good position. He wanted the ball away. That one was effective enough, and after seeing a steady diet of inside pitches, he fooled Donaldson, which hasn't happened too much in this series.
Two down, and the pitch inside to Smoke, who's 2 for 2. He was picked off of second base in the third.
Such is the case with Justin Smoke. You take a gamble on a guy, and a lot of teams love to accumulate #1 draft choices from other people's organization, because if you're going to be picked #1, you have great skills. Now, sometimes they don't come out, and the team that originally signed you loses some patience, so they move you along. But if you collect former #1s, eventually things are going to happen like what happened with Smoke. The light is going to turn on, and they're going to tear it up.
That's when you tip your cap to the people who evaluate.
Well, from all over. I mean, if you're going to be picked in the first round, doesn't matter where the team's pick is. If you're going to be picked in the first round, you have unbelievable skills. Then it comes to the player development people, once they get you in the organization, to bring those skills out. And some guys have to change positions because either somebody in the major leagues is entrenched there, or they feel they'd be better served someplace else. In which case, again, player development people are central to that.
Ball 4, bases loaded, and Morales will bat. Join the White Sox in honoring Chicago area police and fire departments Thursday, August 10th for Police and Fire Night. First 10,000 fans get a special Police and Fire Night commemorative T-shirt presented by UL. For more than a century, UL has been committed to fire safety. Learn more at ul.com/fire. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/PDFD or call 866-SOX-GAME. Another meeting at the mound, second one we've seen here in the 5th inning. And Morales, a big at bat coming up. Four grand slams in the career of Morales. Pitch number 89 coming. And fouled away by Kendrys Morales. Barney at third, Bautista at second, Smoke at first. 0-2 on Morales. Holland a long look in, and now he steps off. And here comes Kevin Smith. So they've decided what they want to throw. Holland and Smith to Morales. It's off the plate.
Good pitch and good location to set up whatever you're trying to get him out with on the next pitch.
One ball, two strikes. And the dirt, 2-2. Morales didn't go for the bait in the dirt.
Tantalizing, certainly, but he was able to check it up. Get the advantage in the infield all the way around. Everybody can get as deep as they possibly can to cut off any angles on a ball going through. And Morales doesn't run well, so you got that play as well as the force outs.
Fouled straight back. And still 2-2 on Morales. On the ground at shortstop, Anderson floats it to second, and the inning's over. The Jays can't score. Holland gets out of the straitjacket. We'll play bottom 5 next. On the newcomers into the system after the trade of Melky Cabrera. Melky batting third for the Royals, and we'll see Melky coming up during the next homestand. The Astros will be in for 3 and the Royals will be in for 3.
Melky's going to help that team because he's a good solid player, tied for the league in assists with 9, mostly out of left field, although he'll play right for the Royals. But they got themselves a pretty good pickup.
Kansas City opening plate today, 2 games back of first place Cleveland in the Central. Royals behind that Cleveland team, which is at Boston tonight. Kansas City is at Baltimore. Jason Vargas against Jeremy Hellickson. Here are the standings in the American League Central, with the Twins fading now to 6.5, Tigers at 9, and the Sox at 41 and 63.
Tigers could figure very prominently now with waiver trades, because they're going to be able to pass through a whole lot of guys that have deferred money way down the line.
Strike 3 called. Hansen is out. 4th strikeout for Happ. Modelo invites you to head to your favorite store and grab some cold Modelo Especial beer. Perfect to enjoy while watching White Sox baseball this summer. While there, enter for your chance to win tickets to a September White Sox game. No purchase necessary. Legal residents of Illinois 21 and up. Void where prohibited. Ends August 27th. Visit crownimportscontest.com for rules. That's crownimportscontest.com for rules. Modelo Especial, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois. Please drink responsibly. I will read your disclaimers for a small fee.
Well, the second half of that promo will get to you here in a moment.
It was actually on a scroll that we unfurled during the break here in the booth.
Meantime, Happ has moved the ball around very well and made good use of changing eye levels. He pitches down, but he goes up by design.
You hear it often about hitters changing eye levels being important. Why, to you as a pitcher, is it important?
Well, I threw a lot of curveballs, cutters, and sliders. So to a right-hand hitter, I wanted to stay on the outer portion of the plate. If I throw a fastball out there, and we'll get to it after this play.
Donaldson's got to hurry. He does. One hopper, and what a scoop by Smoke. Nice play.
We told you this was a fine defensive infield for Toronto, and they're showing it in this series. Smoke is a great first baseman. Donaldson makes a good play here, and he knows he's got to get rid of it quickly. So bare hand throw off balance, and a good pick by Smoke. Very difficult the longer that hop is. Unless it's really long, then it's a one-hop throw. Guys do that also, but he was trying to keep it in the air all the way. Got helped out by his trusty first baseman.
Strike 1 to Anderson. You're talking about changing eye levels.
Yeah, and so if I throw my fastball away, throwing lots of curves, sliders, and cutters to right-hand hitters, he doesn't change anything. That's why the fastball, especially a high fastball inside off the plate, is the best friend of a pitcher who lives away. Because you get a guy looking in the same spot, regardless of what you throw. He's looking in that same spot. He has an advantage. You don't want the hitter to have any advantage when you're trying to work him over in various spots with various speeds and various pitches.
Well, Happ, since that triple by Anderson, has retired 8 in a row. And it's 13 out of 14, with the only blip being that triple. Strikeout number 5 for Jay Happ. We go to the 6th, still 1-0.
On CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Whether it's pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, or more, escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
1-0 score into the 6th inning this lovely afternoon. A little hazy and very beautiful.
And
Sox and Blue Jays.
And both of these left-handers doing a great job against their respective opposition. There's a young man who is certainly enjoying his day at the ballpark.
First pitch here, clubbed by Steve Pearce. No surprise, he goes after the first one and gets it up and out to double the lead for the Blue Jays.
We're probably not going to see a whole lot of Steve Pearce unless he gets traded to another ball club because the season series ends with Toronto. But I think if we've learned anything, it's that Steve Pearce really likes that first pitch. I mean, likes it a lot. And if you throw it in the zone, he's going to hurt you. Ford home run replay. It appears to be a high fastball, and Pearce loves it. No surprise. First pitch.
Couple of extra base hits today for the Blue Jays have brought in runs. Smoke with a double, Pearce with the home run, and you look at the total for the series now for the Blue Jays. That's 6 homers in 3 games.
This was a team that was very powerful last year, but Bautista is not close to what he normally is, and they lost Edwin Encarnacion, who had 42 home runs for them last year, driving in 127. So that's a lot of offense either not producing or gone from this team.
They have added the supercharged bat of Smoke, but that's not offset everything else.
Well, they had him, but he was an insurance policy
right,
for
added him
yeah.
in his current state.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming back, he came back with a new game plan. We've talked about it. We'll talk about it when he comes to bat. And this game plan that he started this year has worked very well. As Jake Petrichka getting ready in the pen. Derek Holland is at the 100 pitch mark.
Two and two. In the air, right side. Sanchez and Abreu, and it's Yolmer's ball to have. 1 down. Today's CSN Bar of the Game, presented by Miller Lite, is the Village Inn, located in Skokie. To see the complete list of CSN Bars of the Game, CSN Bars of the Game, presented by Miller Lite, visit csnchicago.com. Skokie. They've got some great barbershop quartets there.
They do. And the occasional barbershop. So that's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. 1 down for Ref Snyder, who's 0 for 1 with a fly out to right.
Rick Renteria would love to see Derek Holland carry this game certainly through the 6th. And then if he's feeling good enough, who knows after that. But the bullpen has been used quite a bit. And there is a man presiding over a rebuild, knowing how painful it's going to be because he was there when the Cubs were doing the same thing on the other side of town. But I like what Ricky talks about, and it's not the end result at this point, because he realizes this is a building process, a deconstruction before the reconstruction. And because of that, he's trying to impart on all of the players, whether they're going to be here or not, how to play the game and how he wants the White Sox as a team to play each and every game.
The idea is energy, smart baseball.
Hustle every chance you get. Just play hard. And the end result becomes irrelevant because, again, this is a rebuilding year. You know, it's exciting when you win games, and the team certainly has enough aggressiveness and desire to win, as we saw with the 2 Matt Davidson walk-offs. I mean, that was a very happy group of guys, not one that is hanging their heads about this rebuilding year, but a team that genuinely wants to win. So they go out there, they're giving you their best shot every day, but realistically, you're just outmanned by a lot of teams who are going after postseason play this year.
We'll see signs in the next year and a half of growth and signs that there is more growth necessary. I mean, that's Rick Hahn and I talked about that yesterday. He said that, yeah, I mean, there are some great signs coming from the minor league system, but it's always key to remember to stay centered on the fact that this is development we're talking about, especially with those guys down in the lower minors. On the ground, second base. Sanchez got played by the hop. Refsnyder's on his way to third. The throw greets him, and he is out at third base.
Yolmer was thinking about 2 before he had 1, and that's why he got eaten up by this ball. We'll take another look at it. He's thinking about a double play, was getting in position, but then his spike squad took a tumble. Heads up play by Tim Anderson. He was in the perfect spot. He got the baseball and realized that he's got a shot at third. So he turns around, looks over there, fires it across, and he gets Refsnyder. Good heads up play by Tim Anderson.
E4 then scored 6-5 on the putout. And this should do it for the inning. Anderson to first. Easy does it. Sox get the E4s 6-5 and then a 6-3. 2-0 your score.
Plus, Sunday they face the Gannett Braves. Coverage begins at 4. Stream the game at csnchicago.com/watch live and on the NBC Sports app.
Time for the Farm Report, and we take a look at the Charlotte Knights and Ronaldo Lopez, who now has put together a string of 7 starts with 2 earned runs or fewer in a row from August 1st dating back to June 29th. It's 2.16 the ERA.
And throw out the records because they don't mean all that much at this point. Take a look at hits per innings pitched and strikeout to walk ratio. Lopez, who has experience, he was a starting pitcher with the Washington Nationals the latter portion of last year. It looks like he will be up with the team, but no announcement forthcoming, at least for the moment.
In that run he's had 3 games with 10 or more strikeouts. 3 out of 7 starts, 10 or more strikeouts. Overall ERA for the year 3.65. Only 13 homers allowed in a ballpark that plays very small.
Yeah, all things considered, it's been really a terrific year.
3-0 from Happ. 3-1 to Saladino. It's a lovely ballpark, but it's certainly not a pitcher's park. Down with AAA Charlotte. Saladino to left, and that gets down in front of Pierce. Hit number 4 for the Sox today. Time now for our nightly quiz of Steve Stone on his own life, and we'll see how he does today. We call it Sticks and Stone. Which Blue Jays player drove in the first run in your first start in Toronto? Sam Ewing, Doug Ault, Gary Woods.
Well, I didn't see Dallas, so I don't know Sam Ewing. As far as Doug Ault, the Canadian Babe Ruth, I'll say Gary Woods because he was a very nice fellow and have no recollection one way or the other about what happened there. So this is just a flat-out guess.
There's ball 1 to Abreu, the tying run. You saw the very early Blue Jays years.
Yes, the initial game, in fact, was snowed out in Toronto at Old Exhibition Stadium.
77.
77, yes. And then when we finally did play it the next day, Doug Ault, who became the Canadian Babe Ruth, hit 2 home runs. So he was on pace to hit a lot of home runs. Didn't work out that well for him, but he had a good first game.
Ball and a strike on Jose, who walked in the first, then grounded out in the third.
Tyler with a big lead at first.
It's a big weekend this past weekend for Canadian baseball, with Montreal and the White Sox certainly, along with other teams, sharing Tim Raines, but Tim going into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And a great moment. The writer Jonah Carey had stumped for a long time for Tim Raines to get into the Hall of Fame, and Tim, for about a minute and a half in his speech, acknowledged Jonah and how helpful he was in the candidacy to get him into the Hall of Fame. And then Jonah Carey replied on Twitter that morning he woke up and was like, this is like the morning he's been waiting for forever. He's a huge Tim Raines fanboy growing up and loved the Montreal Expos. He woke up shooting pains in his eyes, had a significant bout of conjunctivitis, and had to get rushed to the hospital in New York. Made it back for the ceremony. There's strike 3 on Abreu and 1 down, but it does go to show that one person and very strong feelings on somebody getting into the Hall of Fame can help. I mean, Tim Raines acknowledged him in his speech.
When you take a look at the overall body of work, Tim Raines belongs in the Hall of Fame. You don't find too many guys stealing over 800 bases and everything else to go with it, hitting from both sides of the plate. Earlier in his career was a very good defender. So accolades, terrific.
J-Happ kicks it back to the catcher Montero, and save. Smith beats it out.
John Gibbons at the step of the dugout wanting to see if Happ would like a conference with the trainer. Busting it all the way, Kevin Smith, his second hit. It joins a very short list of infield hits for the catcher.
There could be a small shrine to those in Cooperstown.
It's difficult for most catchers. There are exceptions, of course. Greg Biggio was one of those that won a Gold Glove behind the plate, as well as a Gold Glove at second base, and then eventually moved to center field. He could run, but very few of the guys, especially with shortened hamstrings, can do that.
This is a foul ball. Ben Davis very famously had himself an infield hit.
Yes, he did.
To break up a no-hitter. Here's your Sticks and Stone answer. Your guess was C, Gary Woods, and the answer is Gary Woods. Congratulations, you win a plate of poutine.
Oh, good.
We'll send it to you in the mail.
That's the dish that you always had when we went to Canada, wasn't it?
Uh-huh. Are we not going anymore?
No. Fortunately. No, not fortunately we're not going. Fortunately, I don't have to eat poutine, is it?
Poutine, yeah.
Yeah.
You've never had poutine, have you?
No. I haven't.
It's fries and cheese and gravy.
Yeah, sounds very healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheese curds and gravy.
Does a cardiologist bring it to you?
Uh-huh.
Good.
It's a neat fringe benefit of the food service in Ontario. 2 strikes on Delmonico. Saladino at second, Smith at first, 1 out. Home 6th. Happ went outside and high on Delmonico for the strikeout in the first inning. One ball, 2 strikes. In the dirt, 2-2.
Happ is average just under 6 innings per start. So at the 81 pitch mark, he still has something left, and we'll see how patient John Gibbons is with him. He's used what they would consider their winning pensman in the last couple of games, getting the job done last night, failing to get it done the first game of the series.
Well, we told you earlier on that Jay Happ recently had struggled some. First 10 starts a 347, last 4 starts a 6. And put your eye on the strikeouts there. 57 strikeouts first 10 starts. Last 4 starts just over 3 per game.
Well, anytime your season is interrupted by an injury, in his case an elbow problem that put him on the shelf for maybe a month or a little bit more, you come back and you don't have that great release point, and you're probably going to lose some arm strength.
On the ground, back to the mound. Happ settles, throws to second to get 1, and that's all the Blue Jays will have. As Saladino hits third, Smith is out, and Delmonico to first. Sox fans, join us as the Sox take on the Twins August 24th, 7:10 p.m. Free T-shirt Thursday. First 10,000 fans get a White Sox tee presented by the Village of Bedford Park. Bring your business home to Bedford Park and win big. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. You said you don't have that great release point. What makes a great release point for a pitcher?
A repeatable release point. Because if you can't repeat it, you're not going to be able to throw it where you want to throw it. So it could very well be that it's starting to come back to him now because he's had a very good day today.
6 strikeouts, 1 walk for Jay Happ. Grew up here in Illinois, went to high school in Peru, Illinois. Northwestern alumnus, James Anthony Happ. In the air, right side, foul territory, and too much real estate between smoke and the baseball.
Happ has been around a long time, started his professional career in the Philly organization back in 2004. Then shipped off to Houston in 2010. Got to Toronto in 2012. And last year, just an enchanted year for him at 20-4 with an ERA just over 3. There you see the lifetime numbers, and they're pretty good, especially in this day and age, a 3.99 ERA.
First batter he ever faced in the major leagues back in 2007 was noted Blue Jay Jose Reyes. He faced a lot of batters, by the way, in his first inning in Major League Baseball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The Mets got to him early. LaDuca and Wright with home runs in Happ's first ever inning. Line past third. base hit, Garcia. Saladino scores. It's 2-1.
So Leury, as he's been doing most of this year, becoming a very tough out. That was a high cutter. He tried to get it inside. He probably didn't want it all that high, but it was right up, letter high, out over the plate, and Leury takes it into left field, driving home his 24th run of the year.
Now Sanchez, with the tying run at second base, takes ball one. Yolmer with the big home run 2 nights ago to draw the Sox to within a run at 6-5. It was on 2 strikes against a cutter from Ryan Tepera. Check swing, he went.
Tepera's been in 2 games in a row. You wouldn't think that he would be available. He got out of a tough jam last night. Gave up 3 singles in the 8th inning and got out of it without giving up a run.
One and 2 on Sanchez. 3 hits in the inning for the Sox. Saladino, Smith, and Garcia. Nicky Delmonico on via the fielder's choice. Lead run at first. And a swing and a miss for strike 3. Montero to first base. Wide, but caught by Smoke, and the inning is over. Sox get a run. 2-1 to the 7th. It's our baby cam today.
First 10,000 in attendance here today. Got one of those.
A baby?
Yeah. Good promotion. And Jake Petrichka comes in the ballgame on for the 13th time. He's 1-0 with an ERA of 7.24. As he's getting a little more work, the ERA is coming down.
What's wrong with you?
It is.
First 10,000 people get a kid.
And that dad is thinking about maybe giving it back. Very excited young man.
Should come for rock and roll night.
Well, he's a southpaw, and if he can pitch, we'll get some scouts on him, following that kid around.
Draft and follow?
Sure.
That's over now. You can't do that.
Well, we'll do it anyway.
Jake Petrichka. First pitch. was a strike, but not called one. When is a strike not a strike? When it's ball one.
Derek Holland was very good this afternoon. 6 innings, couple of runs on 5 hits with 4 walks and 3 Ks.
Pitched well out of trouble. 5th inning, bases loaded, got a ground out from Morales. In the 1st inning, 2 were on with 2 out, and he got a ground ball from Steve Pearce.
And this was an encouraging outing. When you consider that Derek, for his career, was a .500 pitcher against Toronto, but his ERA against the Blue Jays, 6.99. So he was considerably better here this afternoon.
Two and 2 on Bautista. Top of the order has hit as such 3 times now today. 1st, 3rd, and 7th innings. Bautista has been the leadoff batter. Opposite way on the ground. Abreu wins the race. We're out number 1. MLB.tv every night, every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live. Plus, get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Now Josh Donaldson with 1 out here in the 7th inning. We thought with the ballpark being heated and windy today, we might have a high-scoring Wednesday afternoon game, but the pitchers did a fine job tamping down the runs.
Happ has been very good for the Blue Jays, and we told you about Derek Holland and his fine performance today.
1-1 to Donaldson, who went to Auburn University, where a couple of White Sox still hold quite a few of the records in terms of home runs and runs driven in. Frank Thomas and Bo Jackson are all over those record books.
Those are 2 pretty good athletes. And I think it's widely acclaimed that the 2 sports stars, and there have been a few that use baseball as the second, sometimes the first, and another professional sport as the second, but out of all those guys, you would think that Bo Jackson was the most talented, because he was a star in both sports, and you just don't find that all that often.
The only other one in that era that really hits your mind is Deion Sanders. But he wasn't a star in baseball.
No, he was a wonderful football player, as we all know. Baseball, he was a player.
He was a piece of those Braves teams.
Yeah. He didn't have the kind of impact in baseball that Bo did. But Dave DeBusschere, great basketball player for the Knicks mostly. He was a pitcher. Gene Conley, another one. There have been a lot of 2 sport stars, but not so much lately.
Right. Jim Brown, football and lacrosse.
They called him the greatest lacrosse player that ever lived, and they had to change the game because of his ability to hold on to the ball.
Down the line foul for Donaldson. When they have to change the rules for you, that's a pretty good sign that you've mastered the thing.
You have an impact on the sport. Jake, when he's right, is going to throw a lot of ground balls. And just getting back from injury, you hope he still has the good sink on that fastball.
Ball 4, 1 out walk to Donaldson. Sometimes they change rules and you're sort of an unwitting participant, like the Chase Utley rule here in baseball.
Well, you could also call it the Buster Posey rule as far as catchers being run over, because that rule came into prominence when the Giants lost Posey for a great deal of time after a huge collision at home plate.
One strike on Smoke, who's not made an out so far this afternoon.
Donaldson faked like he was going. He had a good lead. He's only swiped one bag this year. Been caught twice.
And he draws a throw this time from Petrichka. In the air right field, Leury Garcia has it tracked for out number 2.
Like Smoke got that one off the end of the bat, and not much in it. Take another look. It is that sinker, and he does indeed catch it just off the end of the bat. It's really an infinitesimal difference between the ball going out of the ballpark and a lazy fly ball to right field.
They call them barrels with velocity and launch angle combined. And the idea is to hit it off the barrel of the bat as well. Fouled away by Morales, who bats on the left-hand side for the first time today. By the way, the Blue Jays, the last 3 years in August, have been a tough out. Best record in the American League in August since the start of 2015 in August. .696 winning percentage, 39-17.
Well, if they're going to get it done this year, they're going to have a magnificent August, because they're sitting 8.5 games back. And you got 2 teams at the top very good, Boston and New York. The Yankees a half game out. Tampa Bay hanging right there at 4 games back, and Baltimore starting to play better baseball. So the entire division makes it tough for Toronto to consider getting there.
There was some question nationally about why the Orioles decided not to sell at the break. There were significant signs, at least reported signs, that Zach Britton was a possible deal candidate, and that did not happen.
Well, they took it a long way. The Dodgers were primarily interested in Britton, and they negotiated with Baltimore quite some time. Baltimore made it known that Britton was available.
Little hopscotch from the runner Donaldson, and there is out number 3. Donaldson stranded on the ground ball by Morales. Stretch time, 2-1 your score.
At Fenway Park for Game 1 of the series. Coverage begins at 6 on CSN, or stream the game on the NBC Sports app or at csnchicago.com.
Do a little advanced scouting of the Red Sox, who are in first place in the American League East. Addison Reed just traded to Boston. Always has been a dream of his to be able to go to Boston and play. It was awesome. It's everything I thought it would be. for Addison Reed, whose team came back to win after he allowed a run. Craig Kimbrell allowed a run last night, and Addison Reed, the former White Sox pitcher, we'll see him in Boston. The two guys who were traded for each other, Matt Davidson and Addison Reed.
Many times when you go to Boston or New York for that matter, you wonder if the player you're acquiring is going to be able to excel in the fishbowl, because they're high pressure situations. There's not a whole lot of guys can pitch successfully in New York. They've seen that time and time again, so they don't have that worry with Addison Reed. However, as he's pitched in Chicago, he's pitched in New York, and now he's a member of the pen for the Red Sox as Russell Martin takes over behind the plate.
So the rare occurrence when a starting pitcher deals with both catchers in one outing. Yeah, how about Addison Reed, though? You talk about pitching in large markets. Here, Chicago, New York, Boston.
The largest.
Called strike three. Hansen punched down. 8th strikeout for Happ, and one away in this 7th inning.
This is one of the reasons why the guys who are going to pinch hit have to be observant on the bench. The reason is, if you're watching Happ all day, you know that he's going to try to paint low in the strike zone. Mostly he's going to do it middle in. And if you haven't been observing, you're going to take pitches, as Allen did there, and you're going to get rung up by Las Diaz, who's been calling those pitches all day.
Would be a great surprise to see any more than one pinch hitter for the Sox today, though, considering
getting a little thin.
Yeah,
a little thin on the bench.
Klinger and Honeycutt are on the bench right now for the Sox. Yohan Moncada still nursing that knee injury. They say Abreu getting his tools ready for a future at bat in the 8th or 9th, or if a rally happens here in the 7th this inning.
We'll definitely see Yohan in Boston, and just the fact that he'll be out on the field after what looked like a terrible collision. So a bruise, certainly, but again, it was the best scenario you could expect when you saw what happened in short right field.
Knee to head, Moncada to Willie Garcia, and you heard Sierra's report earlier. Garcia still dealing with some swelling from that. 2-2 for Engel, and here is Monday night's action that looked much worse than it ended up being.
Knee right to the side of the head. Put Willie on the 7-day concussion disabled list for concussion protocol, and Moncada came up with just the bruise, and he will play in the not too distant future.
Strikeout number 9 for Happ, 3 in a row, and 2 down in the 7th inning to bring up Anderson. First 25,000 fans at each game receive a Merck's cheese spread game card, good for savings on delicious Merck's cheese in the deli or dairy case at your local grocer. Watching the White Sox and saving on Merck's cheese, some fans have all the luck. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. Tim has 2 hits today against Happ. One a single, one a triple.
Well, he's already gotten John Gibbons exactly what he wanted. He wanted him at the very least to go into the 7th. He's 1 out away from getting out of the 7th and leaving only 6 outs to cover.
Blue Jays do have an off day tomorrow, then 3 in Houston, then another off day. Summer break for Toronto coming up.
Yeah, off days are going to be a little scarce heading on home for the boys in white today.
Next one is next Monday after the Boston series. Jay Happ has struck out 4 in a row. He strikes out the side in the 7th inning and will play the 8th in a low-scoring game this Wednesday.
Located in Chicagoland, it's rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. E-Click Lending. Boom! Your mortgage just happened. Now we'll take a look at StatCast. Powered by AWS. First ball, home run. Exit velocity 103.4. Launch angle not much. 21.9 degrees. More a line drive. Went over 400 feet. And Pierce gave them at the time an insurance run, but now it is the difference in the ball game.
2-1 your score. Toronto with the lead, and Pierce will lead it off. How often do you see it? StatCast powered by AWS, and the guy leads off the next inning.
Invariably.
Pierce takes a ball low. Sox trying to win back-to-back. Sox trying to win 2 of 3 here in the series to win the series and make it 3 out of 4 overall after beating Cleveland in that finale on Sunday. Back-to-back walk-offs at the beginning of this series and the end of the Cleveland series, and Toronto trying to win itself a series before going to Houston. Foul of third. The White Sox back in 1906, though, this day in White Sox history, began a 19-game win streak.
That was good.
Very good. They did it 3-0 against Boston. In fact, 3 straight shutouts to start the streak. Embedded in the streak was a tie with New York back on August 13th of 1906. You see the banner commemorating the 06 team. 19 in a row. The tie, though, made it 19-0-1 in those 20 games. Rare do you see a tie in baseball nowadays, although some people clamor for extra innings to be shortened.
Well, they might do some things because of the strain it puts on a bullpen.
Would you be in favor of that?
I wouldn't be in favor of starting with a man at second base. I mean, that's a couple things that they talked about. Might not be necessarily in favor of that. But
what about a game just ending at 11 innings? Say it's a tie.
It's pretty tough to rewrite record books with a tie. You're talking about then replaying it or just leaving it as a tie?
Leaving it as a tie. They did it in 06. Monday,
yes.
August 13th, 06.
And then
it stopped.
There you go.
But we can go back. We can go back in
to
history.
the future. That's what it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably not going to happen that way, but they'll come up with something, I believe.
Penalty shootout.
I don't think they'll come up with that. No.
Home run derby.
Now that would be entertaining, but I don't think they'll come up with that either. We'll see.
3-point contest.
That might be it.
Field goal challenge.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Hula hoops.
Possibility.
Jacks.
No.
Red Rover. We're trying to solve the world's problems here.
Yes, my head hurts.
Ball 4. 1 on, nobody out for Kevin Pillar. You will have ample time on the plane today to think over exactly what you should do in 11 innings to force the game to end. But all I'm trying to prove to you is that there's a world of solutions out there that may have been untapped.
Yes. Red Rover's a good one.
Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Have Kendrys come over. I don't know that you want to play Red Rover against Morales. He's a big dude.
That's true, too.
You imagine how good Frank Thomas would have been at Red Rover?
Sox would have won a lot more. I know that.
Ball and no strikes on Pillar. Runners off, and this one shipped to right field. Beautiful hit and run. Pierce takes off for third. And he's in there for first behind the plate. Out! Pillar cut down.
Well, that's really a heads-up play. Pilar thought the play was going to third base, and he rounded the bag a little too aggressively. The throw is cut off. They go behind him. We'll take another look at it. He here is hitting the cutoff man. And Larry Vanover calls him out. Now they want to take another look at it, which they are going to do.
So the challenge officially in effect. Tim Leeper, the first base coach for the Blue Jays, immediately said safe and go look at it. So we'll see what the umpires come up with. And the New York replay review crew. Here's another look.
If he doesn't stumble, he's going to make it back easily. Larry Vanover felt that the tag on the leg was applied before he got the hand back in the bag. There's the stumble.
Now again, you need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field, which was out. By that look, I think it would be difficult. Do you agree it would be difficult to overturn?
Yes, I think so, because it's tough to find definitive proof. But a heads-up play by the Sox defense, going behind the play to try to cut down the trailer. Before that happened, though, a very good hit and run by Pilar, putting the ball in play. Pierce taking off and then getting into third base.
It's either first and third, nobody out, or runner at third, one out. Let's see what the call is. Safe. I think Abreu got the dirt before he got the body.
Yeah, I think that was the definitive proof. The fact that he tagged him so low on the body and his hand was on the bag.
It's up to Rob Refsnyder, who takes strike number one. By the way, it's not often you see the plate umpire, Laz Diaz, wherever the plate umpire is, keep the mask on for the review. See the red dot there on our pitch cast presented by Menards. That means the ball was thrown 95 miles an hour or faster. If it goes over 100, a little Aroldis Chapman face pops up.
He routinely is throwing it over 100.
One and two to Refsnyder as Petrichka searches for what would amount to be a huge strikeout. Ball and two strikes from Petrichka. .97 that time from Jake. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 33 pitches deep into this outing for Petrichka. Three and two. A lot of fastballs for Jake.
You would think that they would run with Pilar here. Trying to stay out of the double play.
He does not go. It's floated to short center field. Sanchez is there for out number 1.
Here comes Don Cooper. Now he wants a word with Jake Patricia and everybody else. As Russell Martin, a late insertion into this lineup, so perhaps they didn't go over him. And Don's going to go out there with the scouting report and how they want to attack Martin.
2-1 Toronto. And Juan Minaya and Aaron Bummer, righty and lefty, getting loose. There's not a whole lot of a call for a left-hander with this lineup. Goins, Aoki, and Carrera all on the bench for Toronto. Left-handed bats. The only lefty that started is Miguel Montero.
And smoked the switch hitter, so he hit and will hit from the left side.
Morales, same deal.
Yep.
But you bring in the lefty, you bring in the right-hander, they are liable to possibly pinch hit with one of those left-handers, with Darwin Barney coming up next. On the ground, Anderson dives over top of it. The Blue Jays score again. Pilar's on his way to third. It's an RBI single for Russell Martin.
Looked like it had a good chance to be 2. Didn't work out that way. We'll take another look. So Tim is there, just can't get the baseball. Leaving runners at the corners, but now it's a 3-1 game.
Darwin Barney with a single to left in the 5th. As there's a ball outside with the infielders crashing on a possible bunt.
Well, Barney's always been a good handler of the bat. That's been a big weapon in his offensive arsenal. He has a couple of sacrifice bunts this year. This situation, and you don't know if he's going to go through with it, but the situation dictates pushing the ball to the right side. That way you move up Martin and you score the run in the ideal bunt situation.
Swings away, ball and a strike on Barney, who was born and raised in the Pacific Northwest out of Beaverton, Oregon. And very fittingly, he became an Oregon State Beaver in college.
Good program at Oregon State.
Former College World Series champions under Pat Casey.
You said they had quite a pitching staff this year.
Best ERA in college baseball by far. A little rainy. You could deal with that. Martin at first, Pilar at third. One ball, one strike. Hit and run again. Fouled away, 1-2 on Barney. Sox will be in Boston for 4. There's a night game on Saturday. You going to come to Sabres seminar during the day?
Well, ordinarily I would. But that's a day that I usually reserve for those, what they duck boats. Make a tour of the greater Boston area in one of the duck boats. Jake Peavy did that. He had a parade and he actually bought the boat.
He bought a duck boat. That one gets away and bounces oddly away at a strange angle. The Blue Jays get a run and a couple of bases for Martin. That ball kicked obtusely down the third base line, and the Blue Jays make it 4-1.
It's going to be a stolen base, a wild pitch, and the end result is another run. So it's a 4-1 game. Leadoff walk usually comes on the score. Jake just pulled that ball and then took the crazy hop off what appeared to be the stanchion. Then the ball just rolls all the way to Tyler Saladino.
On the ground at third, Saladino with a nice pick and a throw for out number 2. So it's up to Bautista with Martin at third. Jake Peavy bought a duck boat?
Yes.
He liked it so much?
He did. It was after one of the parades that were given to the Red Sox when they won, and he thought it was just terrific. So that's going to be it for Jake Petrichka. Juan Minaya coming in the ball game, and as Jake strolls out, so will we, and we'll be back. Juan Minaya coming in the ball game, trying to stop the bleeding. It's a 4-1 game. He's out for the 19th time, 1-0. The ERA at 4.74. There you look at the rest of the numbers. The 32 strikeouts and 24 2/3 is good. As his left-handers hitting just 154 against him, but he's been brought in to face Bautista and possibly Donaldson.
4-1 Blue Jays on a 2-run 8th inning. Walk, single, pop out, single, wild pitch, ground ball, and ball 1 to Bautista.
You saw Juan last night for an inning and a third. A walk, couple of strikeouts, no runs or hits.
That walk did go to Bautista, and he's halfway there this time. Martin at third. Bautista in the air, center field. Adam Engel for out number 3. 2 runs for Toronto. 4-1 your score, bottom 8.
got a new pitcher coming in the ball game. We saw him last night, and he's on for the 41st time. He's 2-0. His ERA 2.63. All things considered, a very good year with 50 strikeouts in 48 innings. And right-handers have all kinds of problems with Dominic Leone. So Jay Happ, 7 innings, 1 run on 6 hits, only 1 walk and 10 strikeouts, including in his final inning, striking out the side. So he finished with a flourish and a very impressive afternoon.
It's the 1 run allowed on the Leury Garcia RBI single with 2 out in the 6th. First pitch from Leone is a strike to Tyler Saladino. Dominic Leone is having his best year in terms of base runners in his major league career. A whip of 1.06. Walks and hits per innings pitched at 1.06.
Normally, if you're down there, you got a very good chance of your ERA being below 3. You just don't have that many runners in scoring position to deal with. So if you can keep the ball in the ballpark, then it becomes very difficult to score on you because you're not helping out the opposition with a lot of walks.
And he's only allowed the 4 home runs all year. He gets strike 3. 5 straight strikeouts.
Time now for our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms. And it is the Toronto Pen. So it's the most strikeouts by a bullpen, and the Blue Jays are second to the Astros, ahead of the Yankees, with the Reds on top in the National League. Padres and Cubs right there.
One down and Abreu. We mentioned it briefly yesterday, but Dallas Keuchel saying that he was more than a little disappointed that the Astros didn't make a move at the deadline, a major move, that is. They did get Francisco Liriano from here in Toronto, but anything that would steal headlines didn't happen in Houston.
No, and that team doesn't have to worry about the division, certainly. 15 games better in Seattle.
In the air right field, Bautista toward the corner and foul.
But Houston has had a lot of injuries to their pitching staff, notably their starters. And because of that, and the uncertainty as you head down getting closer to postseason play, a lot of people thought that Houston, with a loaded farm system, by the way, there's some wonderful prospects the Astros have. They just didn't want to part with them. Consequently, you can't make a consequential deal unless you're ready to give up 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 on your depth chart as far as prospects are concerned. And Jeff Luhnow said that that was not going to happen. He loves his prospects. He wanted to hang on to them, so consequently, no blockbuster deal.
And there is the chance the Astros are good enough as they are.
Depending on the health of those starters as they go into postseason play. But with McCullers going on the DL, Keuchel having been on the DL, they wonder about him and how he's going to come back and sustain. They've had some starter problems.
McCullers with back issues, just like Clayton Kershaw has had. Not the same back issues, but both on the DL a couple of times with back issues in recent days.
You saw Loop, the left-hander, Biagini, the right-hander, in the Toronto Pen. Meantime, the slider of Leone is, if not unhittable, it's pretty close to it.
It's now 6 consecutive strikeouts for Blue Jay pitchers.
That one just disappears. Good late breaking ball. You can call it whatever you'd like there. Some folks would call that a curveball. Some the slider. Either way, very effective.
Two out for Smith. Kevin Smith with a single to left and a single back to the mound today. Sox in Boston tomorrow, 6:10 Central Time. On CSN, Miguel Gonzalez versus Eduardo Rodriguez. Don't be too critical of Boston starter. David Price will come find you.
True. Wouldn't be the first time.
Here are the probables for the game tomorrow. Miguel Gonzalez, who's been very good since coming off the disabled list.
Miguel has thrown it exceptionally well. You see what Rodriguez has done. Opponent's batting average is .239 against Eduardo, and that's pretty impressive.
Two and two on Smith. Six consecutive strikeouts for Happ and Leone. Everything away from Kevin so far. Same there. Former Diamondback and Mariner Dominic Leone out of Clemson University. Three and two. One hopper, ball four. 2-out walk in the 8th inning.
Here comes John Gibbons. I think he wants Aaron Loop. Could very well mean that Ricky thinking about a change when he's running a little short on that bench. And the hitter, Nicky Delmonico, looking for his first hit today. So that's going to be it for Dominic Leone. He will exit. And as he does, and Aaron Loop comes in, we'll step out, be back after these messages. Now that phase one of the White Sox rebuild has been completed, what can we expect next? Chuck Garfien, Dan Hayes, and Ryan McGuffey provide a roadmap for the next 3 seasons. Subscribe to White Sox Talk Podcast today. Our Hyundai call to the pen is the side-arming left-hander, Aaron Loop. Loop on for the 47th time. He's 2-2. His ERA is up there at .462. He's brought in to neutralize the power bat of Nicky Delmonico. And John Gibbons certainly knows how short Rick Renteria is on that bench today.
Loop's about 67% fastball. And there's strike one at 90. Fastball, changeup, his top 2 pitches. A little bit of a cutter, a little bit of a slider. Mentioned that thin bench with Narvaez the only healthy option. Moncada with the knee injury, Davidson with the wrist bruise. Those 2 are unlikely to be available to hit today. 1-2 on Delmonico.
Good movement on that inside fastball, and Nicky could not catch up with it.
Breaking ball down and out. 2-2 with Smith at first. And the tying run on deck in Leury Garcia.
Russell Martin did a nice job of moving to his left quickly because that breaking ball started out outside and kept on moving.
Time called by Delmonico, who is 1 for 7 so far in his major league career. 1 for 7 with a run and 2 strikeouts. A couple of ground balls today. And a chopper foul off his body. Two balls, 2 strikes. 3-2 now on Delmonico. Smith will go on 3-2, 2 out. Outside ball 4. Good job by Nicky to scrap back and draw a walk, his very first in Major League Baseball. And that brings out the skipper of the Blue Jays, and Leury Garcia as the tying run.
Well, John Gibbons would have had a chance to face Leury from either side, and he's made the decision to face him from the left side as he brings in the right-hander, and Aaron Loop, after walking Nicky Delmonico, he departs. We'll step out and be back after these messages. It's at Boston for a 4-game series kicking off tomorrow night. And then after the off day Monday, it's home to the Astros and then Kansas City. Our Hyundai call to the pen is a man who hasn't had a whole lot of luck against our Sox. And that is Joe Biagini. There you look at the numbers. On for the 37th time. 3-8. 5.13 ERA. Been called on to save a game 3 times. Was successful once.
It was Biagini who gave up the home run in the 8th inning 2 nights ago to Matt Davidson that really started to trigger the rally for the Sox. Abreu the RBI double, then Davidson made it pretty real with that 2-run homer. Yolmer the home run right after to make it 6-5, and then Davidson eventually the game winner. Garcia against Biagini, who throws ball 1. So the Sox, after 12 strikeouts to 1 walk, the first 7 2/3 have taken back-to-back walks to bring up the tying run. And Leury fouls a second ball off his body today.
Biagini comes right over the top, throws a very good over-the-top curveball. The problem against our Sox is that he can't get it over the plate. That one right off the leg of Leury. Actually, the instep on the right foot.
Delmonico at first, Smith at second. In for a strike. Three straight switch hitters starting now for the Sox against the Toronto bullpen. 3 relievers used in the inning: Leone, Loop, and Biagini. 1 and 2 on Garcia. He got him. 13 strikeouts for Blue Jay arms today. It's 4-1 in the series finale.
Beck finds his way to the hill as we start the top of the 9th inning. On for the 40th time. He's 2-1. His ERA 4.78. There you look at the rest of the numbers. Right-handers have hurt him, which is unusual for a right-hand pitcher. He has given up 9 home runs. Got to deal with the heart of the order here in the top of the 9th.
First 19 outings this year, a 2.08 ERA for Beck, and since then opponents have turned it on against him to the tune of over 7. So Donaldson first, and that ball is hit a long way to left field. Josh Donaldson deposits a home run in the stands in left, and the Jays lead 5-1.
Third home run in as many days for rejuvenated Josh Donaldson. He was not swinging the bat well coming into this series, but he certainly has swung it well the last 3 days. Ford home run replay is lucky number 13 for Josh Donaldson. He's now driven in 35 runs. That one went a long way.
He had done it in the first inning the first 2 days of this series. He does it in the 9th on game 3. Smoke grounds it right into the shift. Sanchez. One away for Morales. Ground ball to third, ground ball to short, ground ball to second for Morales today. Ground ball to short this time. Anderson from his knees. Abreu digs it out. 2 down.
Nice play by Tim Anderson, ranging to his left. Morales also hits into the teeth of the shift, and for a moment it looked like it might sneak through. But Tim, with very good range, makes the play, has all kinds of time from a knee. Jose on the backhand pick.
2 down for Pierce. Sox in the 9th will have Sanchez, Hansen, and Engel coming up. You'd imagine to face Biagini, considering he only had to face the one batter to get out of the 8th. Although there is some action in the Blue Jay bullpen. Osuna just in case, maybe. We'll see how John Gibbons decides to play it. He does have an off day tomorrow. Osuna threw 2 days ago.
But Osuna was up before this last run scored, so many times, especially with the off day tomorrow, when you get a guy up, just soon send him in the game, even though it's a non-save situation.
Osuna is no longer loosening in the Blue Jay bullpen. Up the middle, Sanchez on the backhand side. So the second baseman left of second makes a play. The shortstop right of second makes a play. And welcome to 2017, 5-1.
Brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's our Miller moment, and it's actually moments because it's the day of Jay Happ. He was brilliant in 7 innings, gave up a run on 6 hits. He fanned 10, walked only 1, in control from the beginning till the end. And he had close to pinpoint control. That's one of the reasons for this outstanding outing. changed eye levels, and did just about everything right. And those are the numbers, and they're pretty gaudy in his return to his home state. Ezekiel Carrera stays in the game. He's playing left field.
Yolmer Sanchez starting the ninth for the Sox. Blue Jays aiming to win the series. And Captain and Tennille have joined us. Sanchez right side, long run. Bautista, he can't get there. Yolmer has a base hit.
Didn't get a whole lot of it, but dumped it out there in a perfect spot. Too far for Refsnyder, not far enough for Bautista. This is a good curveball. Yolmer gets it off the end of the bat and gets just enough of it to land comfortably for a base hit.
Another switch hitter going left-handed, Alan Hansen. Couple of batters away from the tying run being up. Strike one from Joe Biagini. That single for Sanchez was the Sox' first ball in play in the last 10 batters.
Walks or strikeouts after the Liuri RBI base hit in the 6th.
Ball and a strike on Hansen, who's 1 for 8 in the series, pressed into duty with the injury to Willie Garcia the other night. He and Moncada colliding in short right field. Biagini with both the curveball and the slider. Ball and 2 strikes. Up and out. Two balls, 2 strikes. Hansen fights it off.
Over 20,000 people here today. Nice crowd. Just a gorgeous day for baseball.
Sox will get on the plane and head to Boston post-game. Blue Jays will get on their plane and go to Houston. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled away again by Hansen. A long at bat for Allen. He'll see a 7th pitch. Former San Francisco Giant farmhand Joe Biagini. 2-2 to the former Pirate Hansen. Alan Hansen, who came up as a shortstop in the Pirates system, had been one of their top 10 prospects. Once you start using those option years, you lose an opportunity to keep sending the guy back down to the minors. So he was designated for assignment earlier this year, just at age 24, and a second opportunity with the Sox. 2-2. Nicked foul. It's going to take a 9th pitch to Alan Hansen to get a resolution here in the 9th. Sanchez at first, nobody out. Two and 2. Another foul ball from Hansen, his 5th in the at-bat.
Good battling at bat. So far, Biagini can't get anything by him. He's fouled off fastballs and curveballs. He's fouled them off inside, outside, high, and low. Now we'll see who wins this battle.
Allen in swing mode right now, and time called.
He shook off the slider. He shook off the fastball to either side of the plate, trying to shake, I believe, to the curveball.
Two balls, two strikes again. On the ground through, base hit. Allen Hansen wins against Biagini, and the Sox have 2 on with nobody out in the 9th inning. And here comes John Gibbons to make the call to his closer.
He waited for a curveball. That one stayed up in the middle of the plate, and Allen won a terrific at bat. He won the battle, taking the base hit to right field. So that's going to be it for Biagini, who got the final out last inning, only to run into some problems here. And we will take a look at their closer, and we'll step out. Who didn't fare well previously in this series. Roberto Osuna on for the 47th time. 26 of 32 in save opportunities, a 3-2 record, a fine 2.86 ERA. And many more strikeouts than innings pitched, which is the fact that he's got great stuff.
He'll face Engel first. Adam takes ball 1 after an infield single 2 nights ago as the first base runner against Osuna in that 9th inning walk-off rally on Monday night. Hansen at first, Sanchez at second. Ball and a strike.
Osuna, the youngest pitcher in history to get to 75 saves. So it shows you he's impervious to pressure and he's got very good stuff. He was thrust into that role as an even younger pitcher, and that's unusual. You don't see it very often.
93 miles an hour elevated, 1-2. Tim Anderson to follow, then Saladino and Abreu. The next 3 batters after Engel. In the air, foul territory. Smoke for out number 1. Sox trying to make it sting for the Blue Jays again in the 9th inning after 7 unanswered to win on Monday night. Here's Tim, who hit very well against Jay Happ earlier, with a single to lead off the game for the Sox and a triple in his next at bat in the 3rd. Foul ball for strike 1. In the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike on the pick by Russell Martin. Sanchez at second, Hansen at first. Tying run is on deck with Saladino. Osuna's not fooling around in the strike zone here. He is peppering the zone after back-to-back walks in the 8th inning from a couple of Blue Jay relievers.
He's always been a very aggressive pitcher, and when you're as young as he is and you are the team's primary closer, that's a wonderful accomplishment.
Ball and 2 strikes on Anderson. Just high. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tried to throw that high fastball by him, and Tim laid off. Very tantalizing, but a little out of the zone as Russell Martin eased it back down.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Outside, 3-2. What will Osuna do with Anderson on 3-2? Tim, with his 10 walks this year, something of a free swinger. We'll see what Osuna chooses. Three and 2 set up inside, and he gets him swinging on a pitch very close to the zone. 2 away.
He's sitting inside. He cuts it in there, and you see a little late movement. It was the late movement that fooled Tim.
It's a good pitch.
It was a very good pitch.
Made a couple of nice pitches.
Yeah.
The 1-2 was borderline. Saladino, who singled and scored the lone Sox run so far in the 6th. Saladino in the air, center field, Pilar, and the Blue Jays have won the series by taking the final 2 games. This one goes 5-1. And the Illinois native Jay Happ, 7 innings to the victory for Toronto.
Well, Happ was just terrific today, and Toronto got some good, solid defense. Sox put on a good game defensively also, but in the end, the Blue Jays take a series from our Sox, something they don't do very often. So it's off to Boston, and we will see you in a bit.
Sounds good. Look forward to it. Sox will be back home on Tuesday to take on the Astros. For our producer, Keon Dolachaki, director Jim Angio, associate producer Dave Ross, tech manager Mark Harper, and the executive producer Jim Corno Jr. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. On behalf of our wonderful crew here in Chicago, so long from Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. Coming up next, Subaru post-game live. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on CSN. Good night.